Let's talk about Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis is in the news again. Is he ever not in the news lately? He's pushing to make his ban on COVID mandates permanent. He is calling on state lawmakers to block COVID vaccine passports, mask and vaccine requirements for schools, and also barring companies from making hiring and firing decisions based on whether or not someone is vaccinated or boosted.
No discrimination on this vax status, no requirements of masking in lieu of vax or for any other reason. And those are really, really important. You know, sometimes you just have to say enough is enough.
You know, this isn't surprising. DeSantis' push comes the same day the Justice Department went to court seeking to reinstate mask mandates for air travel nationwide after a Florida federal judge blocked the order. Niall Stanage, White House columnist for Niall, I'm getting tongue-tied introducing you. I've never had that happen.
Don't worry, Adrienne. It's always a pleasure, whether you get the actual words right or not. I know the feeling is there. So
it's just so funny because I'm literally like itching to get into this conversation with you. Of course, you're from the Hill. Of course, you're the White House columnist. But, you know, DeSantis has been really sustaining this argument that we should not have mandates at all. But I think that a lot of people wonder, is there something else coming down the pike from the federal government about this new strain, or as we just mentioned, the travel mandates that they're pushing for?
Sure, it's a great point, and there's so many aspects of this conversation we could pick up on. But to take that one, there are concerns about the new strain. If you look across the Atlantic, the European Union has expressed concerns about the rise in China. The EU has tried to encourage air travellers to wear masks. So when it comes to the federal government and the court case that you alluded to in the introduction, they say they're just trying to sort of protect the power of the CDC to make these regulations to respond to emergencies. But of course, you don't want to protect your power to do something unless you intend to use it at some stage.
Yeah, and I think that that's the same argument that Governor DeSantis has, is he's protecting his power to say no go on the mandates. Do you think other states will follow suit?
It's possible, although, of course, this is an issue that breaks down along geographical lines, and those geographical lines reflect ideological lines. But certainly there are more conservative states where we could see this happen. Just to take one issue, Adrienne, the idea of whether there should be a mandate for vaccination for state employees. Some very liberal states, California and Massachusetts, do mandate that. It is explicitly banned in a number of more conservative states, including Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, and of course, Florida. So we could see more actions like Governor DeSantis trying to make these things permanent, especially, has to be said, from governors who might have ambitions for higher office.
Well, and speaking of ambitions for higher office, does this sound like he is continuing to build out his platform for a 2024 presidential run?
Very much so. I mean, as you said, he is in the news almost every day, and it is almost all the time for these kinds of issues, whether you call them culture war issues or anti-wokeness issues, or simply attempts, as he would see it, to push back against government overreach. I was speaking to a Republican strategist in Florida yesterday who is of the belief that DeSantis is definitely running, even though, of course, he has not explicitly said that. He's clearly the biggest challenger to former President Trump for the Republican nomination, and it looks like this could be his moment. In politics, you can wait too long sometimes and your moment just passes. I don't think he wants to let that happen.
Yeah, but there are others who would say that he's not quite ready, he's not quite vetted to take on the presidential race. Now, he is vetted to handle Florida's concerns, and there are a lot of people moving to Florida because they agree with him. Niall Stanage, thank you, as always. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.